I'm Taylor. Welcome to my channel. Today I have my second paycheck for February. It came in on the 17th and it is for $1,066 even. If you've watched my previous video, you know that I had surgery at the beginning of February. So I definitely am still working through that recovery period, and some things have changed since I have made that video. Originally, I was supposed to go back to work on March 7th, but I think I'm going to need to extend it out a week for various reasons. I'm waiting until Monday to make my final decision. That way it'll be 2 weeks out to give my company notice. But as of today, that's what I think I'm going to do, which means that I will return to work on the 14th. The way that my paychecks work out for March, I won't get paid until the 31st. Originally, if I went back to work on the 7th, I would have gotten about a week's pay on March 17th, which is one of the paydays I have in March, but it looks like that's not going to happen. So I had to change some things around. With this paycheck, there's a couple things that I need to cover, but I am definitely underfunded, as you can see over here. And that's because I had to recalculate March's expenses. I am lucky enough to live in a state where I can get medical leave pay, but the way that works is it won't begin until 2 weeks after I started leave. So I'm expecting the first paycheck from the state around March 1st. And as long as that comes through, I should be fine for March and I won't need to pull from my emergency fund. So that's my plan with this paycheck and how I am going to move forward with covering March during this recovery period. Thankfully, the surgery went well. It was a little bit more of an intense surgery than the previous surgeries I've had for my condition, so I'm in the highs and lows of recovery still. I'm going to go down the list and start with the things that I know I need to cover. For holding, this is not the number I'm going to put in because this takes into account my car payment for March, and I'm hoping with the pay from the government, from the state, well, I guess from the government, the state government, I'm hoping to pay for that. So I calculated out that I need to put in $106.98 from this paycheck. And sometimes I'll make notes for myself within the name, just so I remind myself. It's a little bit easier to do it that way. Reimbursements are fine. Fixed expenses I funded. Same with subscriptions. Variable expenses look good. I need to finish up with this extra debt payment here. This will cover March's extra debt payment, so I am good on that front. I'll just have to worry about taking care of my minimum payment for March. Down to my sinking funds. I did unfortunately do some overspending with online shopping. I thought it was going to happen, and it did, and I'm not super hung up about it. Of course, wish I hadn't, but I did. So I have to move on. All right, that leaves me $818.34 to work with. I'm going to select all the ones that I have not funded already to see where that puts me. All right, $379.22. All right, let's do that. And actually, this insurance deductible I can hide. This is kind of a catch-all category that I move things into for the current year's insurance deductible once I have saved the full amount. So I have the future funding to take care of. Emergency fund does not apply. Actually, it does apply, because for some of that spending I did, I used credit I had, and that credit I could have cashed out and counted it as side hustle income. And my goal for 2022 was with any side hustle income, I would put it towards reimbursing my emergency fund and then into funding my Roth IRA through M1. So because I used the credit, this was the amount that I used for the credit, I'm just going to reimburse that from this paycheck into this emergency fund. So $69.09. I can delete that note. back to calculating. So I have the future funding to take care of, the reserve funds to take care of, as well as the investments. So this is where I'm underfunded. I don't think I'm going to put anything into the future funding because that is not priority. Priority is my HSA, but also this medical deductible because I technically owe this to my parents. And because we made this decision at the end of 2021, I did not have a full year to save for it. So I'm kind of trying to play catch up on that. But I also want to make sure that I am funding my HSA. I think what I'm going to do is fully fund the medical deductible. So that is out of the way. I have the $875 that I can transfer over to them, which leaves me with $195.72. So I will put the rest of that towards my HSA for 2022. And hopefully with that state pay for medical leave, it should be, because I have the number that I'm supposed to get, it should be enough to cover my car payment for March, as well as the remaining HSA for February, and hopefully it should also cover my HSA payment for March. But we will have to see what ends up happening. So as expected, underfunded by $469.71, but that's my full paycheck. That is how I'm going to decide to do it for this paycheck. And when that supplemental pay comes in from the state, I will make sure to do a video how I am going to allocate it as if it was a paycheck, because I know I'm definitely not getting paid from my company for our next paycheck in March. Alrighty, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will see you later.